Today I have a nice little game of Chen offlane for you. We're gonna have RodjER, who's usually a position 4 player, play a position 3 Chen here, and he's gonna do really well against this lineup with some of the most annoying heroes. We have techies, we have Timbersaw, but nevertheless it's gonna be a really good Chen game.
Lessons that cannot be unlearned.
So let's get right into the action. We see a rune fight developing here, and they actually get the first blood here in this 3 vs 3 action. And this is something that you can often do as a position 5. You just start out here in the offlane, you try to secure the runes and ideally get first blood for your team, and then you can TP to the other lane. And that's what this ogre is going to do, but he's going to wait around here a little bit here, see maybe they can get another kill, but that's not going to be happening. So the idea with position 3 Chen is you take a range creep right at the start, and these range creeps have 23 plus 8, that's 31 damage, and then these do piercing damage. Piercing damage does 50% more damage against creeps, and this means that you do, what is it, 46.5 damage against creeps, which is almost as much as level 1 hero would do. So you can last hit really well with those range creeps, and this way you can win your lane by just out-CSing the enemy at the start. The downside of this is that these creeps don't do a lot against heroes. Piercing damage only does half damage against heroes, so against heroes they're very underwhelming. So you don't actually do that much in direct fighting at the start, which is a bit of a problem. So on the one hand you want to get extra levels, so you get those strong creeps unlocked, but on the other hand you kind of need help from your support, so it becomes a bit difficult for a position 4 hero to know exactly what to do at the start of the laning phase if you're playing with a Offlane Chen. But so far no harm no foul. Chen has taken a little bit of damage, but he of course has a nice amount of regen with headdress. But in this game he's decided to go for the penitence and not for divine favor. Ever since they nerfed divine favor level 1, it's just no longer really a good value point. As a support Chen you generally max his ability second, but as an offlane Chen oftentimes you see him just not get any points in this at the start and just max out Holy Persuasion and Penitence and leave divine favor to the end, because the Penitence just as skill that scales incredibly well. The attack speed bonus scales linearly, and then the movement speed slow also scales quite nicely. And the slows in the current game are quite strong, actually a bit stronger than they used to be because of the change to boots, because boots no longer provide percentage-based movement speed but a flat bonus. So anything that changes movement by a percentage is stronger now, which is also why they nerfed most of the abilities that give you percentage-based movement speed, but they didn't nerf more slows, including Penitence, so its ability is stronger than ever. They lose a hero here, but on the other hand he's going to be able to chase down this courier, and this courier has a lot of valuable items here, and this range creep does a lot of damage against couriers obviously, and he's also just much faster than couriers. So PA is now out of region, she's lost all the stat items she was bringing to herself. So this exchange, even though they lost the hero and didn't kill anything, is still a huge success just because of that courier kill. And so now they're in really good shape in this lane. You can see in the net worth, Chen is up there in the top net worth along with this PA. And unfortunately Shadow Shaman a bit too aggressive here, but survives and is able to salve up. And now Chen has picked up a Cobalt Foreman. It's a bit unfortunate, it's one of the worst groups you can get here. It does provide the movement speed aura, but in this particular lane movement speed is not that important, so it's not the greatest. And another here bad spawn. He takes over this Hilltroll Berserker, which is, you know, about as strong as a range creep. It has a bit more damage but has less attack speed, so for last hitting and denying it's actually slightly better than a regular range creep, but it's also a bit slower, so I'm not sure if it's actually a really good trade. But at least now he takes over this creep with a level 2 persuasion, so he has a plus 16 damage rather than plus 8. Runes are coming up, so Shadow Shaman goes for the runes. But Phantom Assassin comes up here and trumps him. Shadow Shaman could have gone for the rune actually, but he decided to run to the side, try to survive here. But he's not going to survive. So Chen very smartly goes for the Grimstroke. It's more difficult, of course, to kill the PA, and he gets the return kill here, so not the best exchange here, but at least they get the trade, and now it's going to kill another courier, and the PA now got her items, but she lost the courier for the second time, so it's really annoying, and it's really important as Chen to figure that out, that you're really good at sniping those couriers with your creeps, especially if you have one of these Cobalt Foremen that just allows you to be so much faster than the couriers. But like these piercing creeps are just so strong as couriers, you can easily snipe those couriers. And just like one hit from a hero and one hit from one of those range creeps is enough to kill a courier at the start. So definitely something that you can do in the lane. And now they find this Grimstroke, and with this Dark Summoner they get the kill. So this is a very fast, dominated timing, under 6 minutes. I don't really like the fact that he decided to skip the stick. Stick is really strong against PA especially, but this allowed them to get this super fast timing and dominate, and now they go for another kill here, and at least they're going to try. PA runs to the top, but she gets focused down here, and look at that courier. That's the courier that died from earlier, who's just remaining in the sky here. Nice replay bug. Now they're going to push down this lane with all those creeps. Dark Summoner provides excellent skeleton creeps. These do a decent amount of damage. That's 24 damage at a 1.00 second base attack time, so it's a lot of DPS coming out of these two skeletons. And it's normal damage, which is quite strong against buildings. So these skeleton warriors are great at pushing down towers. And also they're great for just jungling. Queen of Pain comes in here, and now Chen should be running. He's a bit slow on that, and he's going to be focused down here. And he's also a bit slow on starting to use that tornado. Apparently he hasn't watched my guide on micro for Chen, where I talk about the importance of having a control group for your tornado. And by the way, another courier snipe here. So what I do is I always have just one control group, but for me it's the 6 key that's just permanently assigned to the tornado, and that just makes it a bit easier to control that. By the way, note that there's no Hand of God. As a Position 3 Chen, this is something you can sometimes do, not necessarily always, but sometimes it's just great because Penitence is a skill that allows you to farm and just scale better. Whereas Hand of God is more of a supporty kind of spell, and also just costs a ton of mana. And if you're going for these two active abilities that both cost a decent amount of mana, it's often difficult to actually be able to afford Hand of God. Especially because you don't have mana boost, something like that. You do have this Medallion of Courage here, which gives some mana regen. And you would also have this Hilltroll Priest, which also gives mana regen, but he's not going to take this. He has a lot of creep slots here. I think he should have taken that Hilltroll Priest. But in any case, they're going to go now and try to get a kill on this Timbersaw. Of course, they have all these heroes here. Unfortunately, he's blocking his own creeps a little bit, and it's slow to actually start attacking here. And with 24 stacks here on this Timbersaw, he manages to barely escape. Kind of unfortunate. But they're still going to put pressure onto this tower. They now have Death Prophet coming in. She has ultimate up now, and they can just start sieging this tower. Timbersaw is still low, and he ventures forth again, and now with no charges on him, he gets bursted instantly. And now they can take this tower, but first they're going to try to find some heroes who might be lurking in the shadows. But for now they're just going to go for this tower, and once again using these skeletons. And I'm not sure why he's managed to run out of mana here on this Dark Summoner. If he had Hilltroll Priest, he could be gaining more mana regen on the creep as well. But unfortunately he just killed that guy. So now they're taking the T1 tower, and now it's time to defend at top. At top, the enemy have also been successful in pushing the T1 tower. And now it's 10 minutes coming up, so they're going to clear those mines and take the outpost. They also have the outpost at bottom, so no XP for the enemy. And Chen here finds some creeps, but it ventures a bit too far forward, and is going to die, and immediately starts to pull back his creeps. Very importantly, just because he died doesn't mean your creeps have to die. So he starts evacuating those creeps and is going to be able to get out of here. He separates them a bit here for the Stroke of Fate, which doesn't come. So they get those runes. So even though Chen died, they still got a lot accomplished in other parts of the map. So it's very much a worthwhile death, especially because he didn't lose his creeps. And now they're going to go for a smoke. And they just smoke these two heroes and they go straight into the Roche pit. It's 12 minutes into the game. They don't really expect that Roche could be taken right now. But you have this Chen. He has level 4 penitence. That's 120 attack speed bonus for all these units, as well as the troll. And then they have Medallion 2. They have this Alpha Wolf aura. This Roshan dies incredibly quickly. So now Chen has a very strong creep army, and this Queen of Pain can't really do anything here. He has a Dark Summoner, he has Alpha Wolf, he has a regular Centaur, he has the Set Automata, and then he has a Dominated Centaur Conqueror. If at all possible, the Dominator slot should be a Centaur, because for Centaurs, movement speed is very important. Of course, Dominator creeps get extra movement speed. And right now he sees that there's mines here in this creep camp, so he doesn't really want to send in everything. He's going to try to clear this creeps outside of the mines, and the techies just explodes through those mines, and he gets a couple of creeps here, but still not the biggest of deals. And now you can just go for these ancients, and of course also using his stomps here. Stomp only has a 12-second cooldown, and these creeps very rarely run out of mana, so just use them for farming, and especially if you do ancient camps, just helps you take a lot less damage. You should be spreading out the damage a bit better here. It took a bit too much damage from that one Centaur, but other than that, nicely done with these ancients, and it's just one of the strengths of an Offlane Chen especially. You're just so good at farming even those stacked ancient camps that you can get quite farmed on this hero. Troll is being gone on here at the bottom lane by 3 heroes. He uses his ultimate to survive for a little bit. Chen has his ultimate, so he wants to wait for the end of Troll's ultimate to use his own ultimate, and this way he saves the Troll and actually able to turn around this fight, get the Grimstroke 2. Now the PA has to run, and she gets out of here, but now of course it leaves open the tower, and now they can push down this tower with all those creeps. And of course you have to be careful against this glyph. If they glyph, you just have to pull back your creeps so they don't all die. So with the glyph coming in and the heroes respawning, they actually decide to retreat. And he also takes over this ghost. The ghost is not the greatest creep at this stage of the game, but it can still be decent. And of course helps you with farming neutrals. Let's talk about items. We already talked about Dominator, which is the obvious first item on Core Chen. Just an item that helps so much with farming, and if you get this item very early, it can also just allow you to take over creeps that you couldn't yet take with low levels of Holy Persuasion. And it's just having an extra creep very early on in the game is very strong, and of course makes all your creeps just better by giving them extra damage, as well as of course helping out your cores, your other cores with the damage output. Then after that he went for the medallion, for boots, and for magic stick, and now he's going straight into Solar Crest. Solar Crest, of course, an item that also helps you farm, just especially if you're up against ancients, helps you a lot. And in this game it also helps you just buff up your Troll Warlord. Troll Warlord is a kind of hero that's right click obviously, and also a frontliner, so it benefits a lot from the attack speed, from the armor, and from the movement speed. And also it's a good item on Death Prophet. If she gets focused down, just cast it on her, she gets some much needed extra armor and movement speed, which can help her a lot. Then after that he's going for a gem. Gem is of course generally a strong item against techies, but also it's really useful in any kind of game where you're far ahead. Whenever you have complete map control, getting a gem is so strong. It just completely cuts your opponent out of the game, because they then just become completely blind, because you can just deward all of their wards, and then it becomes very, very scary for the enemy to ever actually leave their base, because everything is going to be dark, and because you're ahead in the game, it's a lot less likely that you're going to lose that gem. So gem arrives, and he's immediately going to use that courier to provide some high ground vision here, see if there's a ward here, and there's not. So taking that tier 1 tower, they are going for this fight. They lose their ogre but kill Grimstroke. Unfortunately, Death Prophet a bit low on mana, but they don't actually manage to catch anything here. And once again, they're going to send in the courier to see if there's a ward up here. Troll tries to get high ground vision with his axes, but it doesn't work, and there is actually a ward here, so they get that ward. And now they can go on to this Timber Saw, but he's actually too fast and is able to Timber Chain away. But now he comes in again, and I don't know what he was thinking here. It dies instantly. I guess they think they can fight because there's no exorcism, but turns out they can't, and that is going to be a very, very big lead now. They have 9k ahead, but of course it's still never going to be easy to push high ground against techies. You have to be careful here. There might be all sorts of mines on the high ground, but with the gem available, they can do that. They sort of move carefully here. You see there's no wards here, so they can just go in there. But against the cliff, of course, you have to want to stay back with your creeps, and especially with an Alpha Wolf, that's your most important creep. Keep that creep alive at all costs. And he does here, so the enemy are not really contesting right now, only just chucking in some spells here and there. So they just stay on high ground here with Troll Warlord, who's being buffed up with Solar Crest, and they can easily take out this melee Rex and not take any losses. So at this stage of the game would be a good time to go for Mech and Greaves, but instead he's going to go for a Vlad, which is also a very viable option. Vlad is like a slightly more greedy version. It's an item that gives you more sustain, but doesn't offer as much direct value in fights. But because they have a Troll Warlord who scales a lot with lifesteal, it's also a decent item just in the fights. A bit of unfortunate use timing here from Death Prophet, but this PA is trapped, she's silenced, and she's gonna die. So yeah, because you have a core that benefits a lot from lifesteal, going for this early Vlad is also really strong. But then afterwards you probably want to go for Greaves. The thing about Greaves is that it's really strong in team fighting and provides the team a lot of sustain, but it's not a very good item for scaling. It doesn't help you farm very much, so that's why you generally don't see position 3 Chens rush it, unlike position 5 Chens. And here once again they're going for this Roshan. Unfortunately they have nothing to pop this spell block from Roshan with, which is unfortunate because it means you don't get the penitence buff, but still it's a very fast Roshan anyway. So now they have Aegis and Cheese on this Troll Warlord. He has an MKB against the PA obviously, so it's very hard for the enemy to actually stand against this huge push. There's a 15k net worth lead, so now they are trying to just end the game, and they trap Hero here. The Techies jumps in and it's completely ineffective here, and oh, actually that was a nice kill here, but he used way too many mines for that, and yeah, so that's like one of the things that this is a problem with Techies. Like, yeah, you get the kill here, but you used all that time to lay all these mines, you only get 1 kill. Is that really worth it? Probably not. You're still going to lose those towers here, and that is going to be pretty much the end of the game. I'm currently working on a big comprehensive guide for Chen, similar to the Visage guide that I posted recently. It's going to be up in like a week or two, so if you don't want to miss that, please subscribe to this channel and ring the bell so you get notified when that video is posted. Also more videos of course coming up in the meantime, and I'm going to leave you with some other nice Chen games, and Obelisk willing, I'll see you there.